And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland Certified Financial Planning Professional. He is Tim Stearns, CFP, founder at TJ Stearns, Inc., your home of the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint. And today we're going to be talking about blueprints. In fact, we're going to be talking about structuring for retirement success. And Tim, one of the most important parts is that we have a structure for our retirement that is going to lead to the success that we want and the confidence in spending.
Peter, it's all about having a plan. And it's, going into retirement and structuring your retirement success, it's a completely different financial phase.
Now, we have a plan during our working career, right, Tim? Set your alarm, show up to work. You work, you earn, you save, you invest, you spend, you contribute, you try to grow. That's basically the plan. But once we get to retirement, we've got to figure things out, and it's kind of all brand new and a whole different set of rules.
Well, it's all about how you're going to be able to pay your bills, and it's, how many times have you retired in your lifetime? Never. And it's a whole different ball of wax.
And as you've said, you only get one shot at that ideal retirement.
Exactly. And how do I invest my money? How do I turn my investments into a dependable income? It's a whole different world.
Well, that's why you and your team there at TJ Stearns Inc. put together and structure for people, with people, their personalized protect and grow written retirement blueprint. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to get yours put together, pick up the phone, give TJ Stearns Inc. a call. Tim Stearns, CFP, his team of experienced qualified professionals will help guide you in structuring that plan. 800-640-2256, the number to call, 800-640-2256. Tim, one of the, I think, biggest overlooked but almost most obvious factors about retirement is that the paycheck stops. And the direction of money, therefore, reverses. Everything changes. The direction of money does a 180, and now we're withdrawing where we were contributing before.
Right. Instead of putting in, you're taking out. And one thing I've really noticed is, baby boomers are great at saving, but they're really bad at spending. And so you have to teach them a whole new bag of tricks. And I think most people have a hard time being able to spend money.
We've talked on a recent program, Tim, about setting up a foundation. Every retirement needs a floor for income, something that we
Sure.
know is reliable and dependable.
Right. And that comes with having a plan. And so what we do with people is set up a protect and grow plan. And the base is going to be the protect part, which is showing them how they can spend money and showing them that it's okay. You're going to be able to pay your bills and how you're going to get there. And we show them the roadmap.
What expenses, Tim, do we want to have covered with an income floor? Do we want just subsistence, just essentials, or do we want to have some of the extras included in that as well?
Well, I mean, when you say essentials, we're talking about housing, food, utilities, insurance. But then after that, you're going to want, healthcare, transportation. But there are going to be some discretionary in there that you're going to be using: travel, hobbies, dining, gifts, entertainment. Those are the things. But those are the main ones that you're going to be spending. But there could be, I hate to say it, but some miscellaneous.
Yeah, and then Tim, we also know we have certain sources that formulate that floor, give us that structure. What are those sources that are most common or that might be part of the income floor that retirees can build upon and count and depend on?
Well, I mean, definitely you're going to have Social Security. You might be lucky enough to still have a pension out there, annuities, interest from different investments. And then you have investment withdrawals. The stronger the income floor, the less dependent your lifestyle becomes on daily market performance.
But many retirees, Tim, are almost fully dependent, maybe minus the Social Security, but the rest of everything is investment withdrawals. That puts all kinds of pressure on the investment portfolio.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, you need it to generate income. You might need it to preserve capital, provide liquidity, keep up with inflation, support a surviving spouse, leaving a legacy, you grow as much as possible, things like that.
I was going to say when asked what is your goal with your investments, I think that's the answer that most people give. I want it to grow. They forget about all of those other important aspects, those necessities that we actually need our portfolio to do for us in retirement, like growth for what purpose? Well, it's all those purposes that you mentioned at first, Tim.
Right. And then obviously, make sure that growth is still going to matter. Preservation though matters more.
So, can lower risk, Tim, produce a higher probability for retirement success?
Well, to what you just said, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Many investors assume higher return equals better retirement outcome, but that's not necessarily. Higher expected returns often requires higher acceptance of higher volatility, especially in this market.
As we're making those withdrawals from our portfolio, Tim, taxes can be complicated as well.
Sure, yeah. And then if you couple that with maybe a larger loss or forced selling, sequence risk, or emotional decisions, the goal changes from maximizing returns to maximizing the probability that your plan's going to work.
Probability over potential, something that maybe many retirees would consider and weigh in the balance of which is more important.
Exactly. I mean, the possibility versus probability. I mean, you want to make sure that your plan's going to succeed.
And higher returns on average does not always mean higher rates for success either, Tim. And that's, again, in large part why you help people put together that plan, that blueprint, the structure of the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint plan.
That's right. And then obviously, the next thing up to bat there would be that taxes become more complicated.
Yep. When we are working, it's fairly simple, Tim. I know that taxes get deducted before money ever comes in off that W-2, and
Right?
it gets pretty close to about right by the end of the year.
Right, right. And nowadays, or better yet, when you get retired, you have fewer deductions, there's more tax complicity. So many retirees discover that these deductions that they relied upon during their working years, they disappear. The mortgage is probably paid off. Business deductions may disappear. And then guess what? RMDs start to begin. Social Security might become taxable. Capital gains might stack up on them, things like that.
Healthcare is another big concern in retirement, Tim. And to cover the cost of healthcare, that's even more we have to withdraw from our portfolio.
Right. And healthcare, you got retirement induces things like Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, Part D, Medigap, all these, alphabet soup that people have to deal with.
Well, Tim, I know that as we are talking about structuring a plan, that's why you have named your plan and process there at TJ Stearns Inc., the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint. It is not just a growth portfolio, although that can be part of it. Certainly, we want to grow the portfolio, but how is it going to be supported? What is it reinforced by? What material is being used for the building of this structure that we're putting together? How is power and getting to it? All of this is really the planning process that you bring together into a full picture. Whereas most people up to the point of retirement have really only been concerned with access to the market and rate of return. The picture really changes.
Right. You have to look into everything. You have medical risks changes too, assisted living, home health care, memory care, skilled nursing, long-term care. You might not need life insurance anymore. But some people still carry it, because you're going to need survivor income, estate liquidity, legacy planning, those types of things.
Well, I think this is why we value and look at Social Security as so much more than just a benefit. It is the stability. It is the foundation that we build upon, can count and rely on. And if we spend it one month, it shows back up and refills the next month. And Tim, that's the kind of security that retirement should also provide for us to cover our living expenses, not just a minimal amount to keep us above the poverty level, which Social Security is designed for, not to replace all of our income, obviously. The investment portfolio has to carry some of the load for the rest. But that's why you and your team specifically design these Protect and Grow written retirement income plans.
Right. You got to cover all your bases, and it's not just stocks and bonds anymore. And I find that a lot of people don't realize that there's so much more out there that they need to worry about, and that they have a lot of blind spots that we're pointing out to them.
And pre-retirement, Tim, that's the time to find out about these blind spots and to cover them.
Yeah, not when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, the window is critical, ladies and gentlemen. So if you would like to map out your retirement, if you'd like to get your own personalized plan, your plan with long-term goals and visions and diversified strategies on how to help you achieve and accomplish them, pick up the phone, give Tim Stearns and TJ Stearns Inc. a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Request your Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint designed specifically for you. It is a courtesy service, complimentary, no cost for that. So all you got to do is start the conversation by calling 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256. Tim, always a pleasure having you here on the program. Thank you for having this discussion about how to structure for retirement success.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.